What's going on there, guys? We back with another one. Want to talk a little bit about Shedeur Sanders and his riff with the New York Giants during the pre-draft process. More information is coming out. I want to discuss the Cleveland Browns QB room right now. As we know, Deshaun Watson's under contract. He's not eligible to be waived until after this season, so he will be on the roster, but he won't be playing. He ruptured his Achilles in Week 7 last year, so that's going to impact him even being able to get on the field at all this year. You have Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett on the roster, and also Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, who they've selected this year, right? So you got 5 QBs on the roster. Um, Now, when I look at that, it's likely Kenny Pickett and Flacco is fighting for that final spot. They're probably not going to waive either rookie, just to give them a chance, see what they can do um, down the line. And so Shador, I mean, there's so much coming out about what happened during the pre-draft process, what facilitated his fall. Was it him not participating in the combines and different things like that? But one thing that's coming out now with the New York Giants, we're going to read this report from Giants Wire of USA Today. It says the Shedeur Sanders stories about why he fell so far in the 2025 NFL draft just keep on coming, especially when they involve the New York Giants. Eric Reichter of the New York Post reports that both Sanders and the Giants were not satisfied with how their pre-draft meeting went. The former Colorado star reportedly failed to identify errors in his mock playbook installed set as part of the Giants' pre-draft interview process, which is common practice in the NFL, according to Sports Illustrated Albert Breer. The Giants, one, they give players an install, and there are mistakes intentionally put in the install. He didn't catch them and got called on it, and it didn't go well after that. He was pissed that they had did that to him. It says, and then it goes on to say how other teams passed on Shedeur. Um, Now, one thing Ty McShay of ESPN ended up saying, he said Shedeur didn't have a great interview with Brian Daboll and a private visit. An install package came in, preparation wasn't there for it. He got called out on it, didn't like it. Brian didn't appreciate him not liking it. So that's kind of how that meeting went, man. So yeah, that's not a good way to start out on either front. You don't want your QB uh, looking at coaching like that, especially if he's going to be coming into the team, and you don't want the coach not having the trust of the players, right? But they say that's common practice in the NFL. I remember something. Didn't they give Jamarcus Russell an empty playbook or no, they gave him a game tape or something like that, or a tape with the plays on it, but it was a blank tape, and he said he watched it. So I have heard of something like this happening before. When you look back at Jamarcus Russell. So I can't say I've never seen it happen before when I think back to that situation. But we're going to look at some sound advice that Warren Moon gave Shedeur Sanders. Let's check that out.
I really talk about the past and what happened, but if you were to be able to talk to Shedeur, I don't know if you have, what would you tell him as he tries to win this job?
I think I would tell him you understand the things that you might have done wrong or did right throughout the process, the pre-draft process. But now you're drafted, you're in an organization, you got a chance to go in there and make a name for yourself. And it's how you go about doing it, it's how you attack it. There's nobody there that's solidified in that job at quarterback right now. Joe Flacco's in his 40s. We don't know what he has. Dylan, the kid from Oregon, he's a rookie.
Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, none of those guys have done anything in this league so far. So I think the job is wide open for Shedeur. All he has to do is go in there, put his head down to the grindstone, and go after it and be the player that he's been the last few stops he's been at. So it's all in front of him. It's just the only thing that's affected him now is he's not a first-round draft pick, so it's the amount of bonus money he gets. Otherwise, he's still on the football team, and he has just as good a chance as anybody else on that team to make it.
Well, you know about playing with a chip on your shoulder. I imagine he'll have a pretty good one. Do you think, what are the chances he, in your opinion, who's the starter week 1 for the Browns?
Well, that's what I say. You use this as fuel, and this is good fuel for you to just go in there and show what people don't think you can do. I don't know who the first day starter is going to be. A lot of it's going to have to do with how all these guys play in the preseason, because that's what coaches look at. How do you play when the lights are on? So there's only 3 preseason games now, so you don't have as much of an opportunity to get out there and show what you can do. But you got to make the most. If you only get 5 plays, you make those 5 plays really 5 good plays.
There are some CFL rumors. That's how you started your
Yes,
career.
it is.
You were in the CFL until you were 28 years old. Do you think that would be the right or wrong move for him?
I think he's fine right where he is. I think he's an NFL player. I think a lot of teams looked at him that way, but because of other circumstances, it didn't happen as far as being drafted high enough. Tom Brady was a 6th-round draft pick.
Yes.
We look at what happened to him. So I wasn't drafted at all. You look at what happened to me. So it doesn't matter where you're drafted. It's how you handle it once you're drafted or once you get inside the NFL camp.
And then as dads, like you have your son Reich and like Dion, it's an interesting role because you have to be very almost tempered. You have to be very disciplined in how you handle that.
Well,
as the dad.
As a dad, probably an all-time great at that position, is a whole different mindset when you play corner compared to playing quarterback. You can't act like a cornerback when you're playing quarterback. Quarterback's a humble position. You got to be respectful. You got to be a leader. You're the face of the franchise. There's so much more responsibility that comes along with it. That's what he has to understand.
I can talk to Warren Moon all day, but
Now, that last part of what Warren Moon says allows me to segue into what Cam Newton said, which echoed pretty much what he was saying about how quarterbacks should conduct themselves and how that position is like a representation of the franchise at the time. You look at the quarterback of the time kind of as the representative that we see as fans, day in and day out of an organization. Let's look at what Cam had to say.
Shedeur Sanders, this message is directed to you. Lead with work, not clout. I think he took on the persona of a DB, not a QB. As a DB, you're able to do certain things. You can speak loud and be rambunctious and have that bravado, but as a quarterback, reminder, you are the CEO of that franchise. What do I mean? You have what I've labeled the super 6 that you have to pander to. Number 1, the owner. Number 2, the general manager. Number 3, the head coach. Number 4, the position coach. Number 5, the players. And also number 6, the fans. This is the best situation for Shedeur because he has to claw his way to the top. Does he have the capabilities of doing it? Absolutely. And if I'm in his camp, I'm telling him like, bro, let's get to work. Let's control what we can control now. I do see Shedeur Sanders starting for the Cleveland Browns at some point this year.
Okay, so you heard what Cam Newton had to say, and I'm always funny on this type of moral discussion when we're talking about Shedeur. Obviously, he flashes the watch. He may get up to the podium and say some things that make owners and coaches and them look at it a certain way, especially if it's not under his father, Coach Prime. But if I look at, the way that Johnny Manziel and those guys was drinking and conducting themselves, if I look at um, even Big Ben in his heyday, some of the things he was accused of, has Shedeur done anything like that to represent himself? Absolutely not. This young man's never been to jail, never getting pulled over and stopped by the cops or anything like that. What I will say is the narrative around him, they rarely talk about him going to Jackson State with his father, him electing, because Shedeur could have played at a higher level coming out of high school. But he went and played with his father at Jackson State. They never talk about the way people were breaking into their cars, trying to break into their homes or wherever they were living at the time. Because there was one ring video Coach Prime shared where they was trying to get in Shedeur and them's house. You could see it from the security camera and some of the things they endured and the poise they had. From being rich kids to going to living like that in Jackson, that was, I think, was commendable and brought Jackson State to prominence. You know what I'm saying? As far as the whole country looking to see what was going to happen next, going to the HBCU title game. Then you see Travis Hunter come in and, obviously him doing what he did there as well. They go to Colorado, expectations galore. Started out hot and really, the glaring holes on the roster show for the rest of the year. Last year, they get to be ranked in the top 25, and they were a couple of wins away from, being in that college football playoff. So I say all that to say Shedeur has had pressure on every level that he was on prior to this one. There was a lot of pressure that came with his expectation at Jackson State, his expectation when he transferred to Colorado. Could he move up to the Power Five and have the same impact? Yes, he did. So it comes a point where you have to stop questioning his ability. He has ability. I know people are trying to say his arm isn't all that. He's not the best athlete and all that. But I mean, Shador, he's decent enough as an athlete. Like I think he's getting a little underrated as an athlete at times, and I think his arm is a little bit underrated. I think Shador can play football. Uh, do they want him to taste a little bit more humble pie? I mean, I guess, based off what they're saying, he's saying, but you do want a confident quarterback. He's saying what a lot of guys already believe. And what they're basically saying is that you just can't say those things outwardly. You have to feel that way internally, but can't express it outwardly. And does he conduct himself like a DB? They're talking about the change, the flashiness, the trash talk, the flash in the watch, all of that. I mean, he is the son of the greatest DB, so does he conduct himself like his father? Yeah, I guess somewhat, right? You know what I'm saying? I guess he does, but he is the son of a DB, but he plays QB. And what I would say to Shedeur Sanders is it's always good to learn a lesson. You can extract, even when people coming at you, you can extract a real life lesson from what's happening. And what I would say to him is there's like an agenda against you somewhat. And even if it's not an agenda against you, they're looking for the next thing for you to do, whether it be the media, whether it be other teams, other coaches. People going to take pot shots at you around the league. People's just been jealous of your success. There's some truth tellers that probably see some things you can change as well. So you don't want to be a person that can't accept some accountability and um, what's the word I'm looking for? Some constructive criticism for some of the things that has taken place. However, you do have a lot of people that's hating on the position that you've been in, just being under the limelight, whether it be at a HBCU, at a Colorado, at Power Five level. Um, you have people that's looking for your very next move. So conduct yourself, put your head down, go to work. I was happy to see you running the hills the other day, getting that work in. Just show the work, when it's time, when the bright lights come on. You ain't even got to show them what you're doing online all the time. You show a little bit. I know y'all record, your brother recording. That's how he gets some content. And it would be good to document leading up to your first season. But yeah, man, just put your head down and work. Prove the naysayers wrong. You will get your opportunity. All you can ask for is a QB room where you would have the opportunity to win the job. You have that. They're not gonna cut you because they already see what your jersey sales doing. You are instrumental in selling merch for the organization. They're not getting rid of a guy that's selling merch. They're not doing that. Not right now, especially if he's a rookie. So, yeah, man, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, peace.